And we are here now with the Secretary of the State, Ms. Susan B, who is urging lawmakers to change Connecticut's law concerning appointments and vacant Senate seats. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, Madam Secretary.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate your presence here on The Real Story. It was interesting, the press conference, because right now how it stands is the governor does appoint if there is a vacancy in the U.S. Senate. We don't foresee that anytime in the near future, but you're saying let's etch this in stone now just in case, because you never know.
That's right. When people are watching the corruption in Illinois with respect to choosing a senator, they're also watching how this process of appointing a senator in New York State is going. There are 4 senators that are going to be part of the Obama administration, including President-elect Obama himself. And so people are watching how we choose senators. And I think the best way is to let the voters decide.
Well, this seems like a no-brainer, but the theory behind it is that you don't want not to have representation because, let's face it, special elections take a while.
They do.
And they cost money.
But here's the thing. Until 1947 in Connecticut, we had special elections for both Senate seats and Congress seats if there were vacancies, and we still have that with respect to Congress. But when you have this significant position of public trust, I think it's important that the people weigh in, and we're watching cronyism and corruption and nepotism with respect to Senate appointments. Why not let the people decide? That's always better.
But I don't understand, why are they just kind of picking out this Senate? The U.S. Senate, anyhow, because I do remember when Congressman McKinney died in office, there was a special election, and that's when Shays won office. Absolutely. So you're right, it is on the Congress side, but not in the U.S. Senate. And it seems odd.
It's not clear why the legislature made that change in 1947, and I've been trying to get this law changed for more than a decade. When I chaired the Elections Committee in the legislature, I tried to change it because there was no explanation for why in 1947 the legislature said, oh, never mind a special election, we'll let the governor decide. Maybe it was because at that point the governor and both houses of the legislature were Republican. But I do think now, with all the attention on how senators are selected by governors, it's time to let the people decide.
So what's the resistance that you face now?
I don't think there's any resistance. I think that both houses of our state legislature are very supportive. Speaker Donovan told me today he really likes the idea. Both co-chairs of the Elections Committee like the idea, and in the past it's had a lot of support in the legislature. Let's move on to the Electoral College. That was another story that we covered this past few days. It was pretty interesting to actually put a face to it, because it's almost like this vision that it's hard to kind of put your arms around. But we actually saw it in, while it was going on, the voting in the state Senate there. But you wrote an editorial where you believe the Electoral College system should be wiped out. I keep having the continuing theme of the voters should decide, not special appointed people. And a lot of people after November 4th thought the election is done. We've elected Barack Obama. That's it. But actually, the voters didn't make the selection. They chose electors who met at state capitals this week to choose the president. I'd like to see each person's vote count equally. I'd like to have a popular vote. And in order to accomplish that, we need to abolish the Electoral College that was created by the framers of our Constitution.
And you said, while it was an interesting thing to witness, you said it was, but it was an extra step, and I imagine it's time-consuming. Something like that must cost some kind of money.
It costs the time that we spent on it in the Secretary of the State's office, but I think beyond that, most people assume that on November 4th, they chose the president. In fact, we just elected the electors, and it's indirect. And I'd like to see a system whereby each person's vote counts equally. In the presidential election, because of the Electoral College, the candidates didn't go to the states that are traditionally blue, like Connecticut, or red for the general election campaign. So states like Alabama, Idaho, Connecticut, Massachusetts were largely ignored by the presidential candidates. And if we had a system of popular vote, that wouldn't happen.
All right, Madam Secretary, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
With those two issues you're fighting for. We'll be following them. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.